Most of us here have experienced a panic attack before, and it can be a very serious feeling. As one survivor said, it's no joke. One woman, her name is Sarah, she says, I used to have panic attacks that would last all night, 5 to 10 times a month, with anxiety medicine, distraction, lifestyle changes. And the big thing is learning to accept that having a panic attack wouldn't actually kill me, even if it felt like it. I've been able to have a full-fledged panic attack only about once a year. So it feels like it will never end and there's no solution and that you'll always forever suffer like this, but that's not true. I'm proof it does get better. Hang in there. And then she gives some practical advice for survivors and how to overcome panic attacks. And that's what I'll be doing with you today, helping you to learn how to actually overcome panic attacks because they're essentially curable. You don't have to suffer from chronic panic attacks for the rest of your life. And you certainly are not going to die from the panic attack. So if you've just had one or you're having one right now, please recognize that they're actually a common response to something that's happening with you mentally and physiologically. So one person said, I think what sucks most about panic attacks is that you can't make the level of pain any lesser, even if you've had multiple. Another person says, if you're having panic attacks, please know you're not alone. They're a very serious mental health issue, and the feeling can feel overwhelming. And I want to read you Adrian's comments. He said, from my experience of panic attacks, I can tell you that they're on a spectrum. Usually my triggers are thinking about anything that could mean the loss of life or a rush to the hospital, chest pains, seeing a new spot on my skin, thinking that the headache or something, thinking that my headache is something much worse. Depending on how anxious I get, my panic attacks range from my legs uncontrollably quivering to my vision going dark. I'm still battling my demons, but I really hope that one day all of us who go through this will come out on the other end. And so my message to you and to him as well is, yeah, you most certainly will be able to come out on the other end of your panic attacks. It's not something that has to consume your life from now until the time that you expire. It's actually something that's normal. So for any who don't know, a panic attack is a sudden, intense episode of overwhelming fear and anxiety. And it's typically characterized by an impending sense of doom, heart palpitations, sweating, shaking, shortness of breath, a feeling of being out of control or detached from reality. Some people feel like their vision goes blurry. People lose their balance. Panic attacks can occur unexpectedly. So you could just be driving along, playing music. You could be in the grocery store or in your kitchen, and you get a panic attack and not really remember why or what happened to cause that panic attack. Or they can be triggered by certain situations. Like as Adrian said, when he would look at medical things or think that he has a spot on his skin or he's got a headache and that's going to mean he's going to have to go to the hospital, that was his triggers. So that made him often have panic attacks. They can be triggered by crowded spaces for some, public speaking for others, or even just something peculiar to you. Your own particular trigger could be your panic attack. One woman said, if a man yells at me, I feel like I want to have a panic attack. But the triggers are not what we need to focus on in order to overcome the panic attacks. But that's ironic because those who experience panic attacks find themselves very much trying to avoid the triggers. And so they'll stop going into crowded spaces, or they'll stop giving public speeches, or they'll do very large things to try to avoid having the panic attack. Maybe they'll stop driving. Maybe they'll give up going to school. But is that actually the answer to avoiding having a panic attack? It could seem on the surface logical. If I don't do the thing that causes the panic attack, then I won't have panic attacks. But if we look a little bit deeper into the rest of our lives, what we're really doing is limiting ourselves. And that field of what we're able to continue doing will become less and less and less and less and more narrow and more constricted, causing us to have a life that is so limited that it makes it easier for us to have more anxiety and more depression, which leads to more panic attacks and less happiness and sense of agency. So the answer is actually not to try to avoid your triggers. Now, for scientists today, they would say the exact causes of panic attacks are not fully understood. They believe that panic attacks are related to a combination of biological and environmental factors, and that it could be triggered by stress, it could be triggered by genetics, it could be triggered by brain chemistry imbalances and certain medical conditions. But you can just take all of that and just kind of set it aside, because you here in this meeting know what panic attacks are and what causes them. If you're just joining us, you haven't been to our meetings before, then rest assured I'm going to help you to understand exactly what panic attacks are and what causes them. The cause is not unknown or ununderstandable. We're going to demystify that situation right now. And also this idea that it's a biological, environmental, chemistry imbalance, and it's from your genetics is not accurate. It is not helpful. And although it is the common understanding, again, you can just take it and gently set it aside, because that's not helping us to get to the root of what's really happening. So what really causes panic attacks? Panic attacks occur because your brain or your subconscious mind is trying to help you survive. Again, panic attacks occur because your brain or your subconscious mind is trying to help you survive. Now, that can feel ironic because it's actually making you feel like you're going to die. Now, why is that happening? Well, it's because the way that the brain tries to help you is by releasing the chemicals that it thinks you might need. And so innocently, the brain will release adrenaline into your system. Now, that flood of adrenaline into your system is going to create a variety of issues. The flood of adrenaline hitting your system is going to make you feel a heightened sense of danger and overwhelm. And it's going to cause physiologically the body to go into fight or flight. So you're going to have increased heart rate. You're going to have rapid breathing or other physical symptoms. Now, why are we getting physical symptoms? Again, because the brain just released a bunch of adrenaline into your bloodstream. Why are we getting physical symptoms? Because the brain just released a bunch of adrenaline into your bloodstream. Is it deeper than that? No, it's that simple. When you get adrenaline in your bloodstream in a high amount, and you're not about to like dunk a basketball, punch a person in their face, run top speed, then that's going to overwhelm you and your heart is going to start beating extremely fast. When your heart starts beating extremely fast, it could cause sharp pain in the chest. Also, you can have pain in your chest from hyperventilating, which you will likely do in the case that adrenaline is being dumped into your system, because you're trying to breathe deeply to catch your breath. But as you're breathing deeply, you're taking in too much oxygen, which will overwhelm the carbon in your system, which will cause you dizziness. So now your vision's getting blurry, you're feeling dizzy, and you have pain in your chest, and you're hyperventilating, and the blood vessels are constricting, and the heart's pumping faster than ever. And so all of that pain makes you feel what? Like you are going to die. It makes you feel like you are going to have a heart attack. But are you actually dying? No. You just have an imbalance at that moment, a rush of this hormone, of this chemical. And that chemical is adrenaline. So, do you understand where panic attacks come from? We don't have to say that it's unknown. The brain is dropping adrenaline in your system at high amounts. Well, what's causing the brain to do that? Well, now you're thinking deep. What is causing the brain to drop adrenaline into your system at high amounts? That's a good question. Well, the subconscious mind works on its perceptions. It takes in perceptions from your eyes, from your ears, from your nose, from your mouth, right? So all of the senses are taking in perceptions. But also it has what's on your mind, memories and imagination. So if your eyes or your ears or your nose or your mouth or your memory or your imagination is picturing something that is going to violate you, then can you see how that would cause anxiety? It's the brain's job or the subconscious mind's job to protect you. So it has to, when it senses a danger, it has to give you what you need so that you can win, because perhaps you're going to need to fight. Perhaps you're going to need to run. So it drops the adrenaline in the system. It's actually a beautiful system, but a bit archaic for provincial life in 2023, right? So what are the perceptions of the subconscious mind? Well, as Adrian talked about, for him, when he perceives that he's sick and then he might have to go to the hospital, then that triggers the panic attack. The system releases the adrenaline. It's that simple. It is the perceptions that you're taking in. So what's happening with Adrian? With his eyes, he's taking in with his eyes the moles or the spots. He might feel a headache, right? So with the body, he's sensing, oh no, something's wrong with my body. And then what does he do with his imagination? And he imagines himself being rushed to the hospital in the ambulance and them doing the shock things on his chest and his bills going up like crazy. So what triggered the panic attack? It was the perceptions of his subconscious mind. Of course, I think I would have a panic attack if I were thinking about that too. It may also be triggered by his memories, because maybe he had a bad experience with having to go to the hospital or go to the doctor. And I'll bet if we talked to Adrian, he would say, yeah, I did have a bad experience with that. And so now that causes him overwhelming fear. With other people, as we mentioned, it could be the thoughts of that you're going to die. And this is where the panic attack folds in on itself. Because initially we just get one symptom, and it could be shortness of breath or just heart palpitations. But when we feel that, then instead of just saying to ourselves, oh, no big deal, it's just a heart palpitation or a little shortness of breath, that's not what we're actually saying. We tell ourselves a story. And the story we tell ourselves gives us more anxiety. So we say, oh my God, I'm losing control of my heart. Maybe my heart's not going to work anymore. Maybe I'm going to die. Maybe this is it. Or, oh my God, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. If I can't breathe, then there's no life. If there's no life, then this is it. This is that moment. I'm going down right now. Right? So what happens there? Well, now we're actually inducing the panic attack. And by the way, that name even makes it more scary, right? So even if we say, I'm having a panic attack, well, that sounds scary too. I'm having a panic attack. It's like, what is the end of this? Where is this going to go? What's going to happen now? And if our mind is having detrimental thoughts, then we're telling our subconscious mind a story. We're creating a movie. The subconscious mind watches the movie. And remember, the subconscious mind is not you. The subconscious mind is a part that you have that acts on its own, like an artificial intelligence. Although I can't call it artificial because it's biological, but it's not you. It is separate than you. It works on its own system of intelligence. So when it sees, like a computer, okay, bad situation means drop adrenaline into the system. Then when you say this bad situation in my body is even worse, and then they say, oh, drop more adrenaline. And this is why for some people, their panic attack can last for hours, because they've never arrested the actual thought process. And so the more they have thoughts, the more they have negative thoughts and frightening thoughts. And the more frightening thoughts, the more the subconscious mind says, we got to protect you. We'll give you more adrenaline. And you're going, oh my God, this has been lasting for hours. I can't take this. I feel like I'm going to die. This is too much to handle. But as you keep talking like that, what happens? It goes, this is too much to handle. We're going to die. Your subconscious mind is listening. You see, it's his own intelligence system. Understand that, and you'll understand how to stop your panic attacks. So it says, we're going to die. And what does it do? Gives you more. And then you say, oh no, this is getting worse. And then as it says, it's getting worse. Oh no, we got to give you more adrenaline. You see how this goes? And it goes on and on and on. And this can last and last and last. And then after that experience, if you get out of it, which you do, then you say to yourself, I never want to experience that again. So now what? Well, I have to protect myself from all panic attacks. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to avoid my triggers. Nobody say this word around me. I can't go to that place. I can't leave my house. I can't do this. I can't hear that song. And that way there, hopefully I won't have a panic attack. Well, that's ironic because you become controlling due to your lack of self-control. What are the thoughts that you have? What is the story that you're telling yourself? Trace that for a moment. Panic attacks occur because the subconscious mind is trying to respond to the threat. The subconscious mind doesn't know what else to do outside of give you chemicals that are going to help you in any situation. And so if you're sensing overwhelm, danger, if you're saying to yourself, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't handle this. I can't take this. I'm not going to survive this. I'm going to die. And your panic attack is going to get worse. I'm losing control. I'm going to go crazy. And your panic attack is going to get worse. I feel like I'm having a heart attack. I'm not going to survive this. I'm going to die. Then your panic attack is going to get worse. Oh, this is really embarrassing. I can't believe this is happening in front of everyone. Then your panic attack is going to get worse. Oh my God, I feel like I'm trapped. I can't escape. I can't escape. There's no way out. There's no way out. Then your panic attack is going to get worse. Oh no, I'm going to lose my loved one. They're going to die. I'm going to be abandoned. I'm going to be alone. Then your panic attack is going to get worse. I'm going to be judged. Everyone's criticizing me. I look so stupid right now. I don't want to be isolated. I think you get the point. Okay, great. So now we understand it, right? What are panic attacks caused by? Perception of subconscious mind. The brain releases adrenaline into your system. Do we need to panic during a panic attack? Well, no. The first thing to do is don't panic. Despite the fact you're having physiological symptoms, your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So how do we respond so that we can end this panic attack early and we can diminish the frequency of panic attacks in the future? First of all, understand that a panic attack is not a sign that something is wrong with you. Panic attack is a sign that your system is working correctly. That is what your system is supposed to do if it sees a threat. So if you were walking through the wilderness and then you come upon a cheetah, a lion, a bear, something scary, a snake, all that adrenaline will actually be really helpful in that situation. It'll give you just what you need to hit it out of there, to run, or to freeze in that moment, right? So the adrenaline can actually be very helpful. If you're being attacked by someone, then maybe you need that extra adrenaline to punch extra hard. You heard those stories of mothers who can lift a car off of their children. Those chemicals, those hormones turn you into a superhuman, right? So your system is working well. It's not that your system's not working well. It's just that you're getting the adrenaline at a bad time because the subconscious mind is a little bit dumb. It's not you. It's not as smart and as wise as you are. Does that make sense? So since your subconscious mind is making a mistake, you have to correct it. And that's how we get out of the panic attack. So when you feel the rapid heart rate and the rapid breathing and the physical symptoms and you're feeling distress and overwhelmed and you feel scared and out of control, and even if there's pain, like you're going to die, use the tools. What are the tools? One of the easiest one to remember is the STOP tool, STOP. This will cure your panic attack. Not will maybe help you. No. This will actually cure your panic attack because there's really only one way out. And it is be still, be thoughtful, be observant, be patient. And that's your acronym STOP. Stillness, thoughtfulness, observance, and patience is the cure for a panic attack in the actual moment. So memorize this. And I'm going to break it down for you. In the moment of the panic attack, many people think they need to do something. So they try to go and get their medications or go and call a friend or call the hospital. You don't need to do anything in a panic attack. You need to be still. That's the first thing you need to do. Panic attacks are not dangerous. The adrenaline in your system that got dropped into the bloodstream, it can cause pain. It can hurt. It feels real, but it is not dangerous. Be still. Being still means that you don't move any of your physical body. One doctor said, pretend as if your feet are glued to the ground. Don't go anywhere. Don't try to do anything fancy. Stand still. I like to grab a wall or a handle or something close by because the dizziness can make you feel like you may lose your balance. And yes, I'm talking about myself because I've experienced panic attacks as well because they're normal. Panic attacks are not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a normal response to mental distress. Sometimes we can't remember what the thoughts were that triggered it because you can have a thought and then get distracted. But then the chemicals can hit your system a couple seconds later and you go, I was just looking at the soap. I don't understand, right? So it can happen and you don't understand. But please know for sure that you don't need to do anything to change your situation except to be still. That is one of the most important aspects to getting through the panic attack. What you want to happen is you need the wave of chemicals to dissipate. And they're not going to dissipate if you're running around trying to do everything and anything except standing still. You can control your breathe. You can work on breathing and blinking. Those don't have to be still. Don't hold your breath, but just breathe and blink and wait. If you need to hold on to something and wait. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for the surge of chemicals to dissipate. The body naturally balances itself out. Your body will balance itself, but it takes time. So you need to wait. Hold still before you make the situation worse and allow the surge of chemicals to dissipate. Allow the carbon in the oxygen supply of the lungs to balance out. That is the first thing we need to do, is to be still. The second thing is to be thoughtful. Specifically, the thoughts need to be managed. You need to cease thinking, I'm losing control, I'm going to die, I'm going to go crazy, I'm losing my mind, I'm having a heart attack, I'm so embarrassed, this is so embarrassing, this is so terrible, something is wrong. Stop all that. Switch it to the opposite thoughts. If you've ever played professional sports, not professional, team sports, you'll notice that when you make a mistake and you get hard on yourself, say, oh man, I missed the basket or I missed my shot. A lot of times the team member will come to you and say, hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Shake it off. Right? Why do team members do that for each other? Why do they say, hey, don't worry about it. Come on, shake it off. Let's go. Well, because they know that if your thinking goes too negative, you're going to get lost and go down a negative spiral and do worse. And they need you to do better so that they can win the game. And you're going to do better, and they understand you're going to do better if you think better. We have to manage the thoughts. We need to think better. So instead of, I'm losing control, I'm going crazy, everything. No. I got this. I got this. Just like your team member would reassure you. Hey, it's going to be okay. This will pass. Very important. This will pass. Very important. I will not die from this. This is not going to kill me. Say it with a sense of determination. No, this isn't going to kill me. I'm not dying here, not now. It's going to be okay. Wow. You can acknowledge, wow, that was overwhelming, but I'm going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Repeat that to yourself. Yes, because you're blocking out it's not going to be okay. We got to panic. You got to block all that out. How do you do that? With the reassurance, self-talk. It's going to be okay. Thoughts, the thinking. Think in a way that is propitious and helpful to the self. We're not going to lose control. It's going to be okay. It's all right. Sit still. Okay. We're not having a heart attack. This is a panic attack. We're not going to die. We're not dying. Don't worry about the embarrassment. Panic attacks are normal. It means my system's working properly. This is not deadly. I got this. I got this. I can control this. Okay, this is going to take a moment. Not a problem. All right, I'm not trapped. I'm not trapped. I'm in control. I got control of the situation. I got this. I'm not going to lose anyone. It's going to be okay. I'm not going to be isolated. It's going to be fine. Just need a moment. We got this. We're going to get through this. Okay, I can already feel it going down. I can already feel it going down. Look at that. It's passing already. Yep, probably just a couple more minutes. It's passing already. This will diminish the duration of the panic attack. In the moment, you fight. You, the conscious person, fight. Your subconscious mind is not you. It's just a computer system that works for you. So you step in, you be the boss, you be the mom, the dad, you reassure yourself, hey, it's going to be okay. The O in the stop process stands for being observant. This is very important to cure your panic attacks. Being observant means you see what is real around you. Okay? See what is real around you, meaning we need to use our grounding techniques. Grounding gets you out of your head with all the crazy thoughts because you're imagining scenarios or you're remembering something bad that happened to you. And it brings you into what's actually happening right now. And you will notice you're in a grocery store, you're in your car, you're in your house, and you're totally safe. So we need to be observant and see everything is fine. I'm totally safe. Here's a good grounding tool to use. Name 5 things I can see, 4 things I can feel, 3 things I can hear, 1 thing I can taste. By the time you run through that list, and even if you allow yourself, especially if you allow yourself to feel a sense of gratitude for each one, now you're in observance of the present, which will pull you out of spiraling of the thoughts. You're grounded. Your panic attack will stop. It will diminish. Use the tool. 5 things you can see. Name them. I got a lamp. I got a bottle of water. I got a desk, right? Name them. Think about each thing. Think about how it makes you feel great, how grateful you are to have that thing. 4 things I can feel. That's the temperature. That's my body in the seat. Anything I can feel. Right? What I feel with my hands, what my hands are on, outside of this panic attack, of course. 3 things you can hear. Focus on the sounds. What do you hear? 2 things you can smell. 1 thing you can taste. And you'll be grounded. And then, all right, patience. Patience is the last very important step in overcoming panic attacks. It's to realize that it is a process to help yourself to become someone who is permanently grounded. And so instead of going into, I'm so afraid now that this is going to happen again, and I need this to hurry up and get over with right now. Instead, we're going to be patient. Patience is the ability to endure suffering or discomfort without getting upset or agitated. So don't become upset. Don't become agitated. Don't become scared or embarrassed. Just wait. Just be patient. Give it time. It'll pass. That's a promise. It will not last the rest of your life. You will not die. And you will be able to diminish the frequency of your panic attacks over time, even to the point where you have them less than once a year, or maybe never. It is possible. Why? Because you can learn the skills of managing your anxiety. And once you learn to be the executive of your company, which is yourself, your body, your mind, your soul, when you are the executive of the self, you'll be in control. When you are in control, it reduces the very trigger of the panic attacks, which is, I'm out of control. So be patient and use stop. Memorize stop. Memorize what I've just given you here. Be still, thoughtful, observant, and patient, and your panic attacks will diminish. So we have here someone who's had experience with panic attacks before. So Betty, would you please share with us your experience with panic attacks and really how it felt for you having panic attacks in the past?
Yes. I started experiencing anxiety when I was really young. I'm much older now. I had had issues with social anxiety. So I would have panic attacks anytime I would be in certain social situations where I would have to speak or just be the center of attention or focus. But I also would have panic attacks randomly as well, too. And so the somatic symptoms, it really was a big deal for me. So the rapid heartbeat, just the thought that I was going to lose control or go crazy or just embarrass myself, in a certain way. And so developed a lot of avoidant behavior as well. So like if, for instance, if I had to go to a crowded place, even when I was in college, I would always sit in the back, sit in the corner. I was debilitated, to be honest. At one point, I couldn't even work because it was that bad. It was really, really bad. And I can remember working with you because I literally had this thought that I was going to go crazy. And at one time you were telling me, Betty, you're not going to go crazy. And at one point, something just switched, it just clicked. And when I was able to let that belief go, that thought go, it was a game changer for me. So before I got more control, I started doing a lot of the grounding techniques, like you said, the five senses. If I was having a panic attack in the middle of the night, I would get up and do the jot method. And so that's something that I would work on. And then you had, and like I said, I remember telling you again, if I could get control of the somatic symptoms, that would change everything for me. So one time when I was meditating, I was able to focus on so I had issues again with the shaking all over my body, the rapid heartbeat, just those thoughts. So I was meditating one day and I was able to focus on that. Like you said, these symptoms are not dangerous. This is adrenaline. I'm okay. And after that meditation session, it changed for me where all of us, and we're talking all these years of fear, it changed after that meditation session where I was able to really focus on the sensations I was having, and something switched for me when I was able to believe that it's not dangerous and all of that. So I've been working on my belief system a lot, my thoughts a lot, affirmations, the 30 minutes of edification, 30 minutes of meditation and exercise, like you suggested. And just working on that belief system, it's just, in the past, I couldn't do this. I wouldn't have been able to do this.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So how many years did you suffer from panic attacks, would you say?
Oh my gosh. It started when I can remember as being as, oh my gosh, I remember having anxiety in maybe the first grade. So I'm 52 now. And so my entire life.
Wow.
And I
And
was debilitated. When I tell you I was debilitated at one time, I was literally debilitated.
so let's say that's about 40 years of panic attack.
Yes. Yes.
And so you're telling me now you've been able to diminish the frequency of your panic attacks?
Yes, and I'm not afraid of the somatic symptoms at all. I literally thought I was going to go crazy. Like I kept thinking I was going to lose my mind, I was going to lose control. And like I said, one time when you and I were talking and you were like, you're not going to, I just really bought into that belief that I was going to go crazy. And even before I was no longer afraid of the somatic symptoms, even just me being able to let that belief go, to change that belief, I got a quick turnaround, even with a lot of it, just from letting that belief go.
Wow. So what advice would you have for those of us who might still be suffering from panic attacks?
It's going to take consistency and repetition. I literally had to I had to, like, for instance, I counsel. So I even have clients who've been able to have some turnaround. So some clients will, especially when they're just new to therapy, well, I noticed it. So they'll just let things spiral out of control or not be consistency. Sometimes they may work on the thoughts or the belief system, but not all the time. But that consistency, the repetition, that is the thing that is going to get that turnaround, to get that permanent change.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Betty, for sharing with us. I'm a believer. If you can
Yeah, yeah.
overcome 40 years of these attacks and now be breaking free of that, that's absolutely amazing.
And I
Thank
did
you.
not want to depend on medication because, again, I've been on medication for anxiety as well too. And
Mm.
I knew all of it was just a Band-Aid for me. And so I really wanted to get to the root of everything. And so I had to hit it at the root level in order to get that permanent change that you're talking about.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
Well, that gives us hope. Thank you, Betty. Thank you so much. And so to everyone here, I want you to be inspired by her story and be informed by the information that I'm giving you. It's not just placebo. This works. You can break free of this. You can become more than these symptoms and these issues. And please do the things that she did. 30 minutes a day, meditation, 30 minutes a day, exercise, 30 minutes a day of edification. So a part of your edification is listening to the videos that I'm creating. Join the trauma healing course. The trauma healing course can be found on the website. And ultimately, if you're doing all of that in association with meeting with the trauma recovery specialist, like Betty is, like Coach Lowe, like Marissa, then all of that together will help you to heal faster and be at these meetings as well. These are also helpful. So when you're doing all that, we're changing the neural pathways of the brain, and we can break free of the effects of our complex trauma.